Today I'm going to show you how to make my sourdough discard vegan soft pretzels. I'm also going to show you at the end of this recipe how to make a cheese sauce to go with it. So first thing we're going to need to do is add a cup of warm, like lukewarm, room temperature water to the mixing bowl. To that we're going to add a tablespoon of brown sugar. And we're going to add a teaspoon and a quarter teaspoon of instant yeast to this. And then we're going to mix this and let it foam up. Right, now we're going to add our cup of starter. You want this to be room temp. If it's not, it's okay. It's just going to take this a lot longer to rise. Now I'm going to go ahead and combine this. I'm using the dough attachment for this, just to get this all this liquid mixed together. Now we're going to add in our flour. We want 4 cups of flour. Also, I'm using bread flour. You can use all-purpose, but bread flour is going to make this softer and chewier because of the extra protein. So I went ahead and added our 4 cups of flour and 2 teaspoons of salt, and we're going to start mixing this together. We're going to start on a low speed, and once it gets more incorporated, we're going to start pouring in our 1/4 cup of melted butter. And this is looking like where we want it. So now we're going to stream in our melted butter nice and gently. Now we're going to keep mixing this until a dough forms. We want it to be nice and tacky but not sticky. This is exactly what we are looking for. Nice and tacky but not sticky. We're going to remove the dough hook. We're going to remove this bowl. We're going to cover it and let it rest. Depending on if your starter was warm or cold will depend on how long this needs to rest for. It needs to rest for at least an hour, up to 3 hours. Dough ball, if you want to, you can grease the sides like I did to prevent it from sticking as it rises. Guys, I'm going to show you how to make the cheese sauce to go with the pretzels. Now this is just going to be a cheddar cheese. I'm not going to add any spice to it. If you prefer a spicy sauce, I'll be doing a nacho cheese recipe in the future. But right now, the most important thing is, I know this looks like a lot. We're going to break this down. We've got seasonings for taste, seasonings for color, salt. We have 2 different kinds of acids because I like the different kinds of flavors that both of these bring, so we're going to use both of them. And we have our binders. So we're using tapioca flour for more like a pull, and we're using the agar-agar for giving it that glossy look that cheese sauce has. And then obviously our base is cashews, but we're missing the most important ingredient, nutritional yeast. This is going to give it umami, it's going to give it a cheese-like flavor, and it's going to give it some nutritional value as well. So the first thing we're going to do is we need to take a cup of cashews and we need to soak it. It's going to need to soak for a while because we want our cashews to be nice and plump and soft. Alright guys, I put a cup of cashews in a 2-cup jar and I filled it to the brim with water. We're going to set that aside and let it do its thing. Ready to boil our water and shape our pretzels. Make sure that we add our baking soda in. It will bubble. That's why you want to do this before it boils. I'm using a whole cup of baking soda. You can cut this however big you want your pretzels to be. I'm going to go for 8 pretzels with this. Alright, so after you've cut them into 8 equal pieces, we're going to roll them out with our hands into a long, like, I don't know, log, stick. Alright, and then we're going to make a U shape. And then we're going to cross these over each other. We're going to do a little twist. We'll take that and flip it over the front and kind of pinch it all together and make it look nice. We're going to drop in 2 pretzels at a time into our boiling water baking soda bath. We're going to cook them for 20 to 30 seconds on each side. They need to float. That's when we'll know they're done. When they are done, you want to remove them from the water with a slotted spoon or spatula. Alright, this is what you want. You want them to float at the top like this. Like I said, 30 seconds on one side, flip them over, 30 seconds on the other side. To make a vegan egg wash to put on the top of these pretzels. So we're going to use some unsweetened soy milk, not that it matters because we're also using maple syrup. And we are going to use about 1/4 cup of soy milk and about 1 tablespoon of maple syrup. And then we're going to mix that around until it's well incorporated. All right, so I am going to brush these guys with our egg wash mixture, and my daughter is going to salt them because she really wants to. But basically, you need to get specifically pretzel salt because it is specifically designed to not melt when it's baked. And that's what we want. We want to keep it intact. You have to get the one that is labeled pretzel salt. Specifically coarse pretzel salt is what I'm using. I'll show you the brand here in just a moment. Okay, so it is the, what does that say? Hold on, stop moving, girl. Sea Salt Superstore, pretzel sea salt. Stop eating the salt. That is my daughter. But yeah, she is salting these, so you guys get a little glimpse of her magic happening. Daughter likes salt. Can you tell which one of these pretzels that she specifically said was going to be hers? Leave your comment below. You're right, it's this one, the one that's super salted. I was like, oh my gosh, child, but hey, this is all her. So now that these have been washed, salted, boiled, we're gonna bake them. So you should have your oven preheated to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're going to pop these bad boys in the oven. We're going to check them after about 10 minutes, but it'll probably take more close to 15 minutes. Goodbye, my little pretzel boys. Grow big for me. It is time to make our cheese sauce. We're just going to dump our cashews, water and all, right into the blender. A cup of tapioca starch or tapioca flour, 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast, a teaspoon of agar-agar, spoon of apple cider vinegar, tablespoon of lemon juice, a teaspoon of salt. We added a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of onion powder, 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric, and 1/4 teaspoon of ground mustard. Used a cup of boiling water straight out of my electric kettle, and then we blend. All done blending, we're going to dump it into a saucepan. We're going to turn that to medium heat, and we're going to let this cook and stir it occasionally until it starts to thicken. And after a while, you will have this stretchy, gooey, ooey, cheesy sauce to dip your pretzels in, or you could use it for anything, really. Oh, and there they are. Look at those babies. It smells so good in here. I'm not even a big soft pretzel fan. Oh my god, look how much salt is on that. I'm not even a big, like, soft pretzel fan, but even I can appreciate how good this smells. My shaping needs a little work, but look at that. Oh my gosh. There you go. You got your delicious sourdough vegan pretzel and some homemade cheese sauce.